So how this solution works is we have two new components that we've added to SmartSense. We have an activity analyzer component, and this activity analyzer is focused on mining information from each of our different components. We have our Activity Explorer. The Activity Explorer is basically just an embedded Zeppelin instance that's pre-configured to work out of the box with the activity analyzers. So how the solution works is you install an activity analyzer component on each of your name nodes, if you have name node HA, and those activity analyzers focus on mining the FS image, which is part of HDFS, and consolidating a lot of the utilization and kind of user to resource attribution data into the H-based instance that's part of the Embari metric system. So a lot of you are using Embari, you're using the Embari metric system. We use that as our data store for this activity analysis data. And then we have our Activity Explorer that's configured to work with that repository out of the box. So Zeppelin is what we use for visualization. We chose Zeppelin because it's something that we support within HTTP. It's a really great way to do really fast and rapid analytics. And it's something that we wanted to keep open-ended because we wanted to cover, probably 75% of the questions that you would have from a utilization perspective, but we wanted to give you a tool that helps you answer that 25% of the things that we just can't answer with our out-of-the-box tools. So as we'll see, it's very flexible. So by default, we have 4 different notebooks within the Zeppelin that we deploy. We'll take a look at our Hdfs dashboard first. So in Zeppelin speak, each of these little things are what we call paragraphs. And so these specific paragraphs are backed by a SQL query. If I show the editor, you can see the specific SQL query that we use. We chose, in this case, SQL because it's the lingua franca. Everyone knows SQL. It's easy to understand, and it allows our customers to very easily modify these specific reports. So based on that SQL expression, then you have a lot of different visualization options. I can do it as a table, bar chart, pie chart, whatever it might be. And these are all interactive, so I can focus in on series, exclude series, etc. And the goal with this Hdfs dashboard is really to convey, what's my file size distribution, meaning do I have a small file problem? Who potentially is contributing to my small file problem? And each of these are interactive, so I can say I want the top 20 users with small files, or what are my top 5? You just change, hit enter, the queries are run in real time. Top and largest HDFS users is really focused on who are the biggest users of HDFS, who's pumping the most data into the system, who are the people I should call to say, why are you doing this? And then we have our trends. So HDFS file size distribution trend is really focused on helping understand are my developers and application engineers listening to me and creating a lot of large files? Are they still creating a lot of small files in some situations? Where do I need to go to talk to specific people about different strategies? And then how is my HDFS overall utilization trending over time? If I want to identify specific users, like let's take a look at how JP is doing with his file size distribution and use of HDFS, you can just change these, hit enter, and we update the graph for you. We also have other specific analytics that are focused on, what are the jobs that are performing the most number of HDFS operations. If I was running HTTP 2.5, I could see which specific jobs are creating the most number of individual files, and then what are the jobs that are writing the most data. The goal here is really to help you identify what are those specific jobs that are potentially abusing the system. And this is something that would take a long time to put together. A lot of mining of the resource manager and ATS to get this information, but we're doing, like I said, the heavy lifting and putting it in one place and giving you some great visualizations on top of it. The other dashboards that we have are Chargeback Dashboard. The Chargeback Dashboard is really focused on kind of bubbling all the utilization data up into one specific dashboard. It allows you up here to attribute specific financial, calculations to these different units. So how much does an individual gigabyte of I/O cost? How much does an individual gigabyte in storage cost? And I can roll that up to individual users. So what's the total cost? How much should I charge them for storage, for small files if I want to do a small file tax, all the way down to network and data I/O. And then our Yarn dashboard is really focused on specific, kind of applications and how they're being used within queues and how many containers they're requesting. So what are the jobs that are asking for the most containers? What are the jobs with the most containers that have failed? We even have things to identify potential hardware issues. So localization delay, container launch delay for individual nodes. We've got that in here too. The other thing we have is dashboards that focus on MapReduce and Tez, other abstractions that are potentially just using, MR as the underlying data processing framework. So, what are the jobs that are running the longest, who's wasting memory, what are the different types of jobs, who's using the most I/O, and what are some specific hotspots during the week, potentially, where jobs are being run or tasks are being spawned. So those are the types of dashboards that we have available. These are all available out of the box. Again, the reason we use Zeppelin is because you can create a new note, you can copy and paste this SQL, mix and mash your own dashboards, and all these can be exported. For example, if you want to export it as Excel export it as a spreadsheet, you can do that as CSV, pump it into Excel, and share with other teams, whatever it might be. So that's what we really wanted to show you on the Activity Explorer side. Again, this is all GA. This is something that was released with our SmartSense 1.3 release. So we encourage you to use it. It provides a lot of value. And again, this is on-premise, meaning the actual mining of the utilization data is done in your cluster. The visualization of the utilization done is also done in your cluster as well. So as Anna had said, any questions, please throw those in the, definitely ask us. This is kind of our last slide before we start working on the questions. And the thing I wanted to really emphasize here is what kind of impact we've seen for those specific users that are using SmartSense. So obviously we talked about the case in which we helped double the throughput of one of our customers just by using SmartSense and applying some of the recommendations we've had. But when it comes to preventing issues, we've had a lot of great success as well. So SmartSense users on average create 30% less support cases than customers that are not using SmartSense. And a lot of this is based on them applying specific recommendations, being fastidious about sending us the bundles and doing what we ask them to do. And the other thing is, by using SmartSense, you can actively avoid 10% of our Sev 1 production down issues. So we meet with support every single week to go through the last week's worth of Sev 1s, and we identify where we need new rules or where existing rules would have prevented that specific situation. So nobody wants to have production down. Nobody wants a Sev 1. Use SmartSense, you can avoid 1 in 10 of those. And the last thing is around just reducing that back and forth. That's a real pain for a lot of people. It's nice to be able to just click a few buttons and have all the data captured for you in one file that's automatically uploaded to support. And the benefit here is that 25% of the time, just that one bundle is all you need to resolve your support case. The next communication you get back from the support engineers, hey, we found your issue, here's a specific solution. So these are just some of the benefits you get from using SmartSense.